What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode on The Black Experience, y'all. Welcome back to Season 5. We are in Season 5, a new season, y'all. A new season is upon us and is here, and I'm so excited. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that supported me on this journey so far. You know, it's been, my first episode dates back to October of 2022, and for all the loyal people, all the people that inspired me to do this, thank you so much. To all returning viewers, thank you. And to all new viewers, welcome. Welcome to The Black Experience. Welcome to the team. This is a movement that we're starting, that we're going, and we're going to keep it going too. So I hope everyone's doing well and amazing. Today, y'all, as usual, I have a very special guest with me today. He's Nigerian, born in Chicago, social activist, as well as a member of the larger Western Washington University community member. A lot of you guys know him, so let's put our hands together and let's bring up my good friend, Mr. EJ.
Hey, thank you for the introduction.
For sure, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm feeling all right. I just left Seattle a couple days ago, hanging out with my friends, and I was for a while down there.
Yeah.
So, I could be more spirits up, but I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling good regardless.
Yeah, man. No, so I was telling you, I just made a drive from Seattle because I was spending some time with family, and I started work. So, work has kind of just been, the thing is, I didn't realize how much you would miss your family when you start work. Because I feel like when I was in school, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, I had friends and stuff to socialize with, but now it's like, I just want to see my family on weekends as much as I can. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear about that a lot, especially I feel like you hear about that in more or less media and stuff too. Just you're watching a TV show and be like, Jim, you've been working too long. You come see your family at home. Yeah. It's like, where's your kids and everything? But yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, and every time I see those memes, those Instagram stuff like that, I'm like, nah, that can't be me. Yeah. That'll never be me. Yeah. Now here I am, and I'm like, shoot, I am missing family, man.
Man, I can only imagine. My folks over in Reno right now, they've been there for a little bit now. So I've been missing them, pretty hard. Rest of my family's in Chicago, so it's just a trip away, of course. But that trip's only a couple times a year.
Yeah, so. Man.
But it's definitely family's been a huge part of my life. So it's definitely hard to be away from them.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah, man, EJ, man, let's kick it off, man. I know you said you were Chicago, born and raised there. Tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit what upbringing looked like for you in your early childhood.
Okay. So I was born in Homewood, Flossmoor area of Chicago. You can notice this Azer Crest, Homewood, Flossmoor. Shoot, I didn't go to high school over there, but some notable people from there is Juice WRLD. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but very good rapper from the city. I eventually moved over to the west suburbs. I live outside Chicago, just kind of in Illinois. Algonquin, represent.
Hey.
Yeah, I went to Algonquin, went to high school at Huntley High School, home of the Huntley Red Raiders. That was a interesting moment of time. That was me trying to figure out who I was in relation to the area I was living in, because it was a white area. It's never, it wasn't something that I was born into, but something that you learn over time. And while you're learning it as a kid, it's just a lot of mess, in between, and you're not usually causing the mess, but you're slipping and sliding in it, But on top of that, I moved to Bellevue when I was 15 in 2018. I lived with my mom and my dad, but I did grow up with brothers. So an older brother who was my half brother on my father's side, and then a younger brother who just lived with us since I was in sixth grade. I call him my brother. He's actually my cousin, a second cousin on my father's side, but he lived with us like a brother. He was my age, so we grew up as brothers. So that's always been my guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so shout out to them. So shout out to Kingsley. I have some stuff from them. So this is Kingsley's merch. Shout out to bro. This is Black Hippy Farms. This is in Chicago. This is my brother's brand. This isn't a clothing brand either. They sell plants, to say the least, because I don't know what I can say on here. But it's
promote, man. Do your thing, bro. We going crazy.
He's a marijuana business, marijuana owner. Black Hippy Farms since I believe 2017. He's been working on it man, the biggest hippie. He's one of the hardest workers I know, and he's one of the people that really inspired me to like achieve more in life rather than just like do the bare minimum just to succeed. Because it was so funny having that dynamic. Because my brother, being born to a Black American woman in the United States in Chicago, while also having my father who was a Nigerian man, it was interesting seeing his dynamic and who he was to me. It was like, wow, he was like so like both worlds, you know, best of both worlds in my opinion. But he's so both worlds, and for me, it was like growing up and having like a figure of like hope in the world, because he would be spoiling me. Like those are some of my greatest memories, was being with him. He would spoil me, take me to the city and stuff. He would like me and my brother, he would get us new shoes and stuff every time it's like Christmas. Because like my parents, like even though at this point we moved to the suburbs and everything, they're not always like able to afford these things. But my brother, he just started a job and stuff. He's living in Chicago. He's doing stuff. He worked at Nike Town for a little bit. He did all this like sneaker shopping.
So he gave you all those deals, huh?
You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
know what you mean, bro. I had a cousin that worked at the outlet store.
Oh yeah?
And so Jordans that would be like $200, he'd give it for me for like $40, $50.
My first pair of J's, my 13s, the ones that light up when you take a picture and they flash with the 3M on it. Yeah. Man, he got me those. I remember I was like so grateful for them. But I was like, this feels like a dream or something, because I never had no J's before. This was when I was like 14, 15. Dang. But yeah, so he's Chicago, like he's Chicago to the bone, but also being Nigerian to the bone. And yeah, that's my brother Kingsley. He's like 12 years older than me, so he's always been like a role model for me.
I'm curious, EJ, because you know, and I know we were kind of talking about this before in the past, but what was it like? I guess because you were still young, you were 15, but what was it like coming to Bellevue? You know, because that transition between people in the Midwest, people on the East Coast, you know, we hear here on the West Coast, oh, people from there are different, they act different, they're more direct, this X, Y, Z. How was your experience making that transition? Man,
that direct part is so right, because I don't know if you've ever been to like, you might have some family over in the East Coast or something.
I do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you know how they talk, like me, how I speak is very, people will say like aggressive, or I talk at you at some points, but I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm talking to you, but it comes across that I might not be doing that because my voice is raised a little bit. I speak to you with like my chest. That's just how I learn to speak, because when you grow up in Chicago, Illinois, that's how others speak to you. You're in the Midwest, that's how you know how to speak with your chest and like with feeling. But when I moved over here though, in Bellevue, oh my God, like my first experiences with the Seattle Freeze, bro.
Seattle Freeze. Tell us about that, because I know some of us have heard about that. I've definitely heard about that.
Man, I have experiences, so I can name off two. Two ones that really affected me when I first moved there. So I used to play basketball a lot. I just loved to hoop. That was just my, I was young, but I had hoop dreams type of thing. I loved to just play basketball. So I would always bike to this park over by Crossroads, and it was this Boys and Girls Club. And the thing about that park was that it was still Bellevue, so it's a lot of white kids, but it's also black kids, right? And you go to maybe like, I didn't make many friends over there that I still have a connection to this day. I maybe met one friend that I've hooped with over there that I still know to this day. And shout out to Ibra. He makes pizza. Not even just pizza. He makes like all this other food. He's just started his cooking business, and I just seen it like a couple days ago. He's doing super fire over there. So shout out to Ibrahim. But yeah, other than that, it was like, it's so hard to make friends even though we have a common interest. And we're all like kind of young though. Like we're 14, 15, 13, 12 years old, and we're all just trying to hoop and have fun. We're at the gym. But it just felt super weird. And then another example of this was at school. My first day of school, sophomore year, this is my first class, but it was kind of weird. They did half days. So they did 4 classes one day, 3 classes the other day, and that would be your half day. And then the rest of the days would just be normal.
Is this in high school?
This is in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if y'all had half days, but we had one every week.
We had when I was in high school, we had a new schedule every year. Because people were getting angry that we had to wake up early. So they bumped it up every year, man.
Yeah?
We started.
What was the latest you woke up for school?
I think the earliest when I was at Garfield was, I think we started school around 7:45, 6:45, one of those two. I think we got to school by 7. And by my senior year of high school in 2018, 2019, school was starting 8:45.
That's wow.
So yeah,
Y'all are doing work. Y'all was pushing that.
people were like, we're not morning people. We need to bump that up,
I get that.
And
And
get
in
our
Seattle
sleep in.
too, like I wake up and there's no sun, it's just clouds.
Yeah.
That's another thing about moving here, which I think the Seattle freeze has to deal with. There's no vitamin D. There's no like, my God, you come outside and you like, is it still nighttime? And anyways, so the second instance of the Seattle freeze that happened was I'm in my first class. Chemistry is technically my second period, but it's a weird half-day type of situation. I go to class and I'm talking to someone and they happen to be from New York, and me and them are having a conversation, and it's pretty good, it seems smooth and everything, but it's just like I lift my head after everything happens, right? And oh my God, there's like 10 people staring around me. I'm like, staring at me for what? I was like, I know I'm the only black kid in this class, but that didn't happen when I was in my other high school. Like, people didn't like treat me like that. People like stared at me, and people would do this thing where like they walk across you in the hallways and they'll like look at you from afar, and then they'll look down at their phone, and then they'll like pretend like you're not like a normal person, kind of just like the up and down.
Bro,
like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
And I would always think that was just me.
Yeah.
But now that you said it, I'm like, okay, other people experience that too. I don't know why people do that.
I thought it was crazy. It's like that Afrofuturism stuff. Like you really, like it feels like an episode of Atlanta every day, bro. Something new just coming at you, bro. But yeah, I felt like a lot of isolation when I first came to Bellevue, especially because it's Bellevue, a very affluent city. And we were talking about this before, that has to do with everything like the dual consciousness you have as a black person in a white space. It's very, very jarring, like to your mindset. It kind of shakes you to your core because you don't know what to do and you don't know what's wrong exactly, but you just know there's something that's not right. And you feel isolated, you feel alone, it's hard to make friends sometimes. And I'm also doing research on this right now for just an independent study for myself on how being black or brown in society will make you feel these certain characteristics of yourself. And how people treat you differently as compared they would treat you to other people. And this is unconsciously and consciously. So I'm doing interviews right now, and I've been seeing a lot of the same results for people. Of course, this has just been mainly the West Coast. So some people from California, some people from Bellingham, some people from just Washington in general.
All parts of the nation.
Yeah, well, all parts of the West Coast at least, And yeah, so I feel like that's like a good spread at least, because that's where I'm at right now. And seeing it over here, I want to know if people do experience what I see as well. So...
Well, that's part of the inspiration for this podcast too, for me, because it's, it's like we have these common experiences as black people, and sometimes because we don't have these dialogues, we don't know that other people are experiencing it. Just like what you said about the whole phone thing, it's like, you're walking down the hallway and then people look at you from afar and then look down, and then you start to question yourself. Are you like, am I intimidating? Do I have something on me? Am I scary looking? Like, why would someone do that? But amidst all that, a question just came up to me. Would you say, like, being Nigerian, being also Chicago born and raised, coming here to the West Coast, like dual consciousness that you were talking about, like, would you say right now, like, how would you say your identity, is it like firm right now? Are you confident in who you are and your identity, or has that been kind of like,
I feel like
around with
if I get your question is, how do I feel my identity is molded? I've been more molded into myself. Has it changed from moving from a place I was so used to?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would say like it definitely took a turn when I moved over here, but I feel like I'm so much more myself, like even to this instance, right? So my family, they're ICA. So this is ICA, National Association. This is their handbook that they have. And there's a convention every 2 years. And this is my dad's tribe in Nigeria. And behind it shows the ICA youth. I'm there with all my friends and everything. And it's just been, every time I go there, so I just came back from Atlanta, which was July 5th or 4th through the 7th. I always get the sense of like belonging again, because I talk to my peers, and even though I've been on the other side of the country than they are, a lot of them from Chicago, Houston, New York, like all these like big cities, but none of them from like the West Coast. But I still feel like I'm myself around them, and I can still be myself like I was a little kid when I was hanging with them in Chicago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my identity has been like shaky like throughout the years. I wasn't sure who I was exactly, especially to other people. It took me a while to like not care as much, because that's kind of like the idea of finding your identity is being yourself without limits.
Exactly.
And it's hard to not limit yourself when you don't realize that being yourself is okay, because you've always been like told that you yourself is to this, not enough this, you're bad, not good, what makes me bad, what makes me good, what makes me not enough, what makes me who I am. And relaying those in your head all the time and just catastrophizing and just being so in your head about certain things, it can be a mess until it all stops. And there's methods to the madness, of course, but everyone has their own ways of feeling it out and figuring out their own identity. But I feel like mine has been shaped pretty well since I moved here. Yeah.
Good to hear, man. I'm glad that it's kind of been shaped and it's kind of steady right now too. That's important. So
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, bro.
Let's talk Bellingham, EJ.
Yeah.
The place where we met, man. Western Washington University, man. Tell us a little bit. I guess, was that your first school of choice?
Yeah. It wasn't particularly. So it's so funny. But before COVID, I wanted to do photography over in Savannah, Georgia. This is art school in Savannah, Georgia that I wanted to go to. And that was just a far gone, because I didn't really like Bellevue when I was living there. I felt it was kind of not for me, not for the people who I want to find, So I was like, let me go to Atlanta, let me go to Georgia, or let me go back to Chicago, whatever. And through time, I had to be more realistic because, money is expensive, So you had to figure out how, you're going to be able to meet your means personally while also meeting your means financially. So I feel like the best in between for me was Western Washington University. So when I was in high school, I had this teacher in junior year. Her name was Ms. Dahl. She was my AP English language teacher. And she is probably the reason why I went to Western Washington University.
How so?
So in English class, growing up, I'll preface with this, like with context. Growing up, I didn't really have that academic mindset. Of course, I had the African parents who are going to tell you, do your books, You're cutting watermelons with them at the dinner table, having an interesting conversation, to say the least. Just
they bring it up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So how'd you do on that math test, CJ?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, dinner turns into like a whole mess. So then, so academically, I tried to succeed, but I was doing pretty poorly, and this is before I was diagnosed as neurodivergent ADHD combination type. But through school, I tried to push myself as hard as I could, but I wouldn't see my results. I started getting negative feedback from teachers at that point. So every year in school, up to my freshman year and 8th grade year, where I kind of learned how to finesse teachers and everything, kind of not like the bad way, more like the charm my way through school, because I knew I wasn't good at this stuff. This is the best I can do. So my teachers would just be like, you know what? I love this kid in my class. He always brings a good energy. I'm gonna give him some leeway whenever he emails me or whatever, right? And that's how I had to do things for the longest time, because I didn't know how to do it any other way. But once I got to my junior year, I had two teachers, Mr. Miyata, who was my math teacher, and then my English teacher, who we're gonna stay on topic for, Mrs. Dahl. Ms. Dahl one day had a curriculum in her class to talk about Maya Angelou's Still I Rise poem. And I said, this is eerily reminds me of another song that I've heard before, but I didn't know how to bring it up to her, so I just said it. I was like, oh, these lyrics kind of match these other lyrics of another song. This is the first time I've ever seen a teacher so excited to hear what I had to say when I raised my hand, and she changed the whole day's curriculum to look at the songs side by side and how they correlate with each other and how one's an homage to another one. And that literally changed my idea of how life could be. It made me feel like I was I had to feel smart, but I had to feel capable, just like the other students. I felt like, to say this dumb, that's an understatement. I felt like I wasn't worth what other students were worth until, the point of time came where I was celebrated for even something so minor, just catching that one little detail and realizing that I can do this. And she helped me pursue what I do now. So I like to write poetry, raps. I like to just analyze music. When I was a kid, one of my biggest hobbies was literally I would take music that didn't have lyrics on Genius or on the website themselves. And I would literally write down the lyrics myself and put it on my notepad and just recite the lyrics as it's coming on to me.
Yeah.
So like, while I'm listening to the song, I'm like rapping whatever, and I'm just like, that was my pastime. So eventually I started writing my own raps, and yeah, she was one of the reasons why I continued to do that and just continued to make an impact in my life. So I was like, you know, I got into a couple of these schools. I was like, you know what, I'll stay in Washington, let's go to Washington University and see if I can pick up that same demeanor, the same personality that my teacher gave to me. And like, or when my teacher shared with me, she like did such a good job of making me feel good. I want to make others feel good too. So I was like, this is my choice.
Dang.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. And you told her as soon as you got into Western, accepted that you got accepted, yeah?
Yeah, I told her, so this is my senior year at this point, and yeah, we were in class together. We were on Zoom. I remember waiting for everyone to like get off the Zoom page. I told her that I'm going to Western. She's like, oh my God. She's like covering her mouth, and she's like super happy and everything for me. And it was just a beautiful moment. And I said I was just in Seattle. I just went over and saw her actually for the first time in like 4 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just had a great conversation about life and everything. She's doing so great right now. Miss Daw, I love you, man. You just like, seeing you was like amazing, just like eye candy. Just like, I am so happy to like be in your presence again, because it's just those people in your life that make you feel safe, and she was definitely one of those, you know.
And you see what you just said right there, EJ. It reminds me of a quote that said something to the effect of, you know, you may not remember what people say to you, right? But you'll always remember how they made you feel.
Oh. No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, because like, obviously she did say some things to help you and encourage you to get to Western, she made you feel safe is what you just said. And so because of that, like, you'll always have that connection with her. And you'll always be thankful, you know? And when you graduate from Western too, you know, you'll invite her to graduation and she'll be amazed, you know? So shout out to her. I also have a lot of those people too, man. Even all the way dating back to like elementary days where,
really?
Shout out Mr. Chappelle. He was the, when we had kind of PE or like recess, he'd always like motivate us and talk to us, and he was there a lot. I haven't seen him ever since, but I would love to see him. But he also made me feel safe. He made me feel seen, made me feel like, you know, I could do it, you know. Whenever we play kickball, he's like, you got it. You can do a little home run or whatever, you know, and just those little things, you know, you never forget.
No,
you know what I
mean? Yeah, that sounds good. Even like a coach too, like a PE coach, like that's quite astounding. Like have one of those just be on your side too, because you're doing physical exertion, like exercise. Yeah. You need someone to cheer you on.
You need someone. Otherwise, you're going to quit, man. You're like, I don't know if I can do another push-up.
And that's when you start walking around the track, 'cause I'm not doing this anymore. I don't like this. Like, I'm done. And I don't blame the people who didn't, because if you don't have a good coach, it makes you like lose hope for the game. So,
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
So you come to Bellingham. You're here at Western. You just finished your second year. How's your experience been here so far?
I actually just finished my third year.
You finished your third year?
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm about to be in my fourth year, senior year, I guess, of Western. It's been good. Been part of a couple clubs, you know. So Afro-Caribbean Club, I joined in my third year as secretary. It's been a blast, to say the least, because I remember we were talking about this earlier. My sophomore year, or my second year, I was there with my friends who were running it at the time, and it was just completely different. And a lot of them just seen their own struggles with life and just had to do their own things, and things got busy. So people graduated, so it just the leadership ended up changing to Hosanna, Abai, and Deborah Marcos, and they invited me to become secretary just off the strength of meeting me and just talking for a little bit, and it was excellent. Like, I've never been part of something like that big at the time that made me feel like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be, like for the next year or two, or I want to always be a part of this, like this sphere we have, you know, of Africans and Caribbeans that have a space to be in a white area, you know.
Yeah.
Bellingham is super. I was about to cuss. Super white, super white, super Caucasian, super just like not many African Americans or people you can lean on. So having those spaces, like an ACC meeting, that's like the best. That's just super fun and to just be with, and then you can connect with other people who are there as well, and we make it so easy to connect. And yeah, it's been
absolutely
a great time.
And for the viewers that don't know what ACC, BSU, all the other clubs that you've been part of, tell us a little bit what these acronyms mean and kind of where people can find these places.
All right, so ACC stands for Afro-Caribbean Club. You can find them in our ESC, so Ethnic Student Center, and MCC, Multicultural Center. There's a lot of clubs that are part of them, so like BSU, which is Black Student Union, LSU, Latin Student Union, and like so on and so forth. These are amazing clubs. They always like encourage you to do more, and they also have very fun events. As of recently, we've been doing a lot of stuff that's more like student community based. So this would just be like, if it's not waist beads and sharing food and then sharing stories, doing henna on each other. It's been an amazing time, and I've enjoyed it a lot.
Fundraisers, they do fundraisers with donuts.
Yeah, the Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Oh my God, that was so much fun doing those. Yeah, we do fundraisers and everything. We've been kind of like trying to, run the block like it's ours, for real, and just try to fundraise, but actually have fun doing it. And we'll just have people who are just like honorary board members just be a part of our team, and we, they show love and we show love back. So, if you want to join, and you need somewhere to just be and just have a good time, and you're Afro-Caribbean and you just, are one of us, like, please, like, this is your space. Please feel welcome as well.
And shout out to that end of the year event that y'all threw. With music, with food. Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, our heritage event. That was gorgeous. That was like, it was really good planning too, because I had never done an event that big before. The last thing I did was when I was in high school. I was in BSU, Black Student Union, and I was vice president, and we were doing this MLK assembly and trying to do it differently as opposed to the years before. So years prior, it was very just like standard, and this time we were doing speeches, introducing leaders and stuff, and it was the biggest thing I've been a part of until this heritage club, this heritage event. It was a good turnout. Was it 50, 60 people?
Oh, it was a little bit more than 60 people, but it was like, we sold free. We had the tickets to be free while also having a raffle over there, if you remember. So to get as many people as we could to want to be a part of this, because it's food. Like if you just have a ticket and it's free food too. Like we know what's going on right now. There's a lot of people even in like the encampments over for the Palestine encampments over in the South Lawn of the school or the North Lawn of the school. We knew that you guys, everyone needs food. Everyone needs like a place to eat. Everyone just wants to have fun sometimes in the middle of like one of the hardest years we've been through, or towards the end of it. Like let go for a second and just come through. We know it's gonna be hard a little bit. So yeah, we had like maybe 70-ish people, maybe 80-ish, but it was a great time. Yeah,
I loved it, man. I loved it. And again, I was telling you this before, man. Like when I first stepped foot onto Western's campus, it was those clubs that was like my first ways of finding community early on.
Oh, snap.
Because, I've seen a lot of people come and go from Western, and and a lot of the same patterns that I saw was people not finding that community. But ACC and BSU gave me that community until to see you guys post-COVID revamp the club, get it going, have a celebration like that Heritage Dinner with free food, great food, tasty food, drummers, everything, dancers, like that celebration moment, man. I like there was like a moment where I just looked around. I was like, wow, this is special, man.
Yeah, shout out to our team. At that point, it was Hosey, Deja, B, and I, and we're just trying to figure it out. And thank you for saying all those things about it, because everyone would tell me that they had a good time, but it was so hard for me to focus on the time we were having because we felt so busy having to try to run it. But I'm so glad that people were able to see it in a different light than I did, you know? Yeah, that's what mattered to me.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit. So you were on the board last year, and so next year you're going to be on the board, and what position are you going to have?
Okay, so secretary last year, I'm going to stay with my position as secretary. And yeah, it was pretty, handling a board, especially when being a board, especially when it's a growing, members in this Afro-Caribbean club. It was different than what I was used to, of course. I was used to going to like BSU meetings when I was in high school, and it would just be like a turnout of like 7 people, 8 people, even though I went to a big high school, but it's Bellevue. So not many people cared, and there wasn't like a focus on having to like, see us as a big thing going on in the school. But over here, there's turnout, so it's been pretty fun. And the presidents are going to be co-presidents of Deja and then also Billin. And we've expanded the club even more, so y'all should stay tuned.
More fun events to come, huh? More food,
Man.
more fundraisers, donuts. I keep saying donuts, man. I think I need to get a donut.
Is that what you like the most?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah?
I love the donuts, especially Krispy Kreme.
Which Krispy Kreme did you like the most? What
flavor of the donut? The one with the sprinkles is like the strawberry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
strawberry donut, strawberry glazed. Okay,
Strawberry glazed.
Okay, we'll make sure we have enough of those.
If y'all have that, yeah, I might even get all of them, man. At that point.
All right, smooth. We have bundles on the dozens and everything as well. So come get your Krispy Kreme. Probably have a fundraiser before during fall quarter. So
for sure,
you can get one if you're over in Western.
EJ, man, I want to transition to. Well, a little bit actually before we transition. Tell us a little bit more, because we talked about BSU ACC and then the First Gen Club. Tell us more about that.
Right. So I'm president of First Generation Club at Western Washington University. It's a new club. It was tried during my junior year, but it didn't pop off the way it was supposed to. So we retried. We had a new team, new board, new system. And this is under Shirla Rogers, who is... been a really great teacher. I'm a human service major over at Western, so what that means is basically like the art of caretaking, but not in the health way, more like the understanding how someone is type of way. So I would say this is a lot of social psychology on top of like social work and social hospitality and just how you're supposed to treat people. So that's how I knew about the club, and it's for first gen students and first year students that are allies of first gen students to come in and find a community of people who may, be in the same boat that they are. Because, starting off college with no one who's been to a university, or at least in your family that's been to university, even in the United States, which is different than being overseas. It can be very nerve-wracking. It can be very confusing, especially when you're away from home and you're away from everything and no one's really told you what it's like or what it's supposed to be. And you just have this vision in your head about like college from like movies and stuff that you're just like, oh, I don't know what this is. Like, this is so not, like, this is not real to me. Like, I don't know what it's supposed to be. So when you have those feelings and you feel almost like lonely and stuff, and it's past the first days where you can meet everyone, you come to first gen meetings and you start to meet people. No matter who you are, you're gonna be accepted because we have a care for y'all because we understand what y'all been through. My parents particularly, my dad did go to school over here, but as like when he was in his like 30s or 40s, like he went to DePaul University in Chicago. My mom finished her university, started her college in Nigeria and finished it over here. And she's been educated ever since. She ended up getting her master's. Then after master's, she's getting her PhD, and we should be graduating around the same time. So I'm so proud of her.
Exciting times to come, man. That's good.
So it's like, I do come from a well-educated background, but not a background that has understood the undergraduate process as like a kid just going into school. So that's why I feel like this role that I've taken up has been very pivotal for me. And I feel like helping those is really important in my life. And we had an event at the end of the school year as well where we basically just had a little mixer over by the South Lawn by the stairs. Like if you go to Western, there's like this like M stairs that just don't really go anywhere. But
stairs to nowhere.
Yeah, stairs to nowhere.
What they called it, man.
It's cool. I mess with it it tough because it's just like cool little architecture. But it's in the South Lawn. We had like basically just like pizza and food and stuff for people to eat, and then I'm playing volleyball with these people who are also doing a club event. So had a good turnout, and then just like good times like that. We I think it's November 4th. Mark your calendars. Another first gen event is going to be happening over in it's not the what's the multi-purpose room in the VU?
The big room.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the multi-purpose room.
Yeah, multi-purpose room, right in the VU. We're going to be having a celebration over there, so it's going to be people talking, people from the school, being able to learn about the facilities and the resources you can get, and just, being able to just meet new people and find out what you can do with this club and how this club can help you, because we're not here for ourselves. Like, we're putting the work for y'all, It's going to be a good time, and
amazing.
Pop out.
Yeah. Absolutely. EJ, and this also connects to the transition I was going to make, but from what I'm hearing from you is you you have all these experiences that you've had, involvements, and you're giving back to the community so much. And I just think that's so important, and I hope you continue to do it. If you remember at my graduation when you came, you were dabbing me up. You're like, congratulations, Irmo. You know what I mean? You did your thing. If you remember what I said to you, I was like, hey man, we're handing you the keys now. The keys are yours to lead BSU, ACC, you know, and other people in your class.
Yeah.
And I meant that because I just, again, that transition, you know, I got emotional, man, a little bit in the moment, because I was like, man, again, it's so beautiful to see how we didn't let COVID, that isolation period, keep us down. Even though ACC, it took a few years to get it back up, BSU was still there. But to see you and to see other people giving back to the community just made me so happy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you're a natural born leader, man. And I've been seeing it. I've been feeling it. I've been hearing it. You know what I mean? And I just hope you continue to do that, man.
I appreciate that a lot, and I do remember that conversation we had. Like, it's definitely been in my head, and it made me feel like more of a leader, especially with you saying that. Someone who has been a leader in BSU, someone who's been around just the ESC, and just like everyone knows who you are, and just like I feel like, yeah, of course, I felt that way of like, you know, I think you acknowledging me as someone who can be a leader, it makes me feel like I can be a leader, you know, myself. So I appreciate you for that as well.
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
Of course, man. Yeah. Salute, man.
Salute. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Well, EJ, man, we're at the tail end of the podcast. This is the episode. This is part of the episode where I like to call the deep end, because anyone that makes it this far, you know, they get the best of it, because I like to end my podcast asking this question. But you know, from all your experiences, EJ, and from everything that you've been through, your involvements, ups and downs, everything. Yeah. You know, what advice would you give to the younger generation? Someone coming into Western, someone coming into any university who's on the come up, who's on the rise up, but, you know, may not be as confident, may not feel like they know exactly where they're going, you know. What advice would you give to that person?
Well, a little bit of everything. Of course, going with the flow, but also the flow is like chosen by you. So you got to fake it till you make it, and also go with the flow. You can't just like sit down and wait for something to happen. You need to go out there and do it, and also put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, because that's the only way you grow. Like being in a room for like 60 minutes with people that you've never met before in your life, and just going out there and trying to talk, even if you might be a socially awkward person, just start word vomiting and just trying to figure out what people are like and how you can, you know, get like an attunement for what society is like, and how you adapt to your society will definitely play a part in how you grow as a person. I know I've had to do it like countless times, like just being someone who is at a new school or in a new area and has never really been seen before, and you just have to acclimate yourself socially, while also remembering who you are as a person, because who you are as a person that will never I guess change, because, you know, you change with yourself, and however you change, just make sure it's for the positive and it's for your own benefit.
Beautifully said.
EJ,
man, appreciate you, man. And I know throughout the podcast we've already done plenty of shout outs, but one last opportunity. Is there anything else that you want to shout out, throw out there? It could be your social media, anything.
Yeah, so here's a hat that I wanted to show before. This is Against the Grain. So this is my brother's hat, has ATG on the back. They do a lot of cool stuff. This is a satin line beanie. They're over in Toronto. They're based over there. So againstthegrain.ca, or you can find them at againstthegrain.ca on Instagram. Also, I like to do poetry, hip hop, rap. So you can catch me in the Underground Coffee House, me and my friends. And if you ever hear about me, it's MURK33, Murky. Yeah, those are my shout outs. Shout out to Big Black Hippy, shout out to Ika Association. Those are my families. Shout out Nigeria, Naja no they carry last every time. And shout out to you, Miss.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Oh man, that was good, man. For real. Appreciate you, man. Well, y'all heard the man. Tap into his music and everything that he just said, and to all the shout outs that he did. And I hope you guys enjoyed this awesome episode. You know, as always, it's an honor, and make sure to click that follow button if it's on Spotify, that subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure to click that bell to get notified on every new video coming out every single Wednesday. Until the next episode, guys. Till next time, guys. Peace. What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning into that video. Make sure to click that subscribe button down below as well as that bell to get notified on every new video and short coming in the future. And check out the description down below to get links to my podcast that is now featured on both Apple Podcasts, Spotify, this YouTube channel, and my Instagram down below. And as always, until next time, guys, peace.